Hi, you're watching SightsIn Plus, and this is Romesh Shivastu. Please do subscribe the channel for the HR news, for HR updates, and conversation with the top-notch CHROs, thought leaders, and business heads. Today, we are going to discuss about the compensation and benefits in 2024. And we have two senior HR leaders. Let me introduce Dr. Sanjeev Kumarr Dixit. He is the Chief Human Resource Officer with the Jindal, Iron and Steel, and Ms. Priya Pendharkar. She is a Group Global Mobility Director at Atos. Dr. Sanjeev, if I come to you first, I was going through a couple of reports and surveys, and I was trying to find out what are the HR trends and challenges for 2024. So somehow I also got that compensation is also a challenge for coming year 2024. What is your opinion about this?
So thank you, Romesh, for having me, and pleasure to have Priya along with us. The way now the entire work area, which is now changing because of the post-COVID scenario, the organizations are now attracting all their employees back to office. And there are organizations which is also ensuring that they keep incentivizing their people so that they become more, you can say, performance driven at their work from home scenario. And even coming back to office, how the changes which is happening in the overall compensation and benefits is going to create that glue or stickiness for them to come to the office environment. So I think these are the two element which is influencing majorly, especially the sectors where work from home is more prevalent. For example, service and IT sector. In our case, obviously, it is as I said, manufacturing driven. So not too much of what you call you can say impact coming in. Now, some of the challenges which I see is how to have a maximum ROI from the kind of compensation increase or budgets we're going to propose for the next year. And when I say ROI, it is all about the design and deployment of the overall compensation strategy, which is moving more from the fixed element to more emphasis on the variable element, which is linking it with the very specific goals, priorities, and strategy. You can say execution and delivery. I think that will remain universal, you can say, priority, and you can say one of the, I will say, focal point of ensuring that the trend keeps moving towards the variable pay, and more percentage will be on the that particular side. The second, I will say, opportunity which I see is, as I said, the performer and non-performer differentiation. And with lot of now work happening around the making the performance management rigid, the emphasis is what about the bottom 10% and your top 20 or 30 percentile. How we bring that kind of a you can say performance linked differentiation between their what you call pay to performance. So that would be another element which will be, I will say, will be a reference point for the HR leader as well as business leader to focus upon, because I think that will make them leverage whatever kitty they have or budget they have to what you call recognize your top talent from where you're getting the highest ROI. Because as we were talking about ROI in my first element, your top 25 percentile or 30 percentile are giving you the 80% impact in terms of the performance results, whether bottom line and the top line. And what about the bottom 10%? What we are going to do with them in terms of whether we are looking at providing performance improvement plan or having some kind of a correction there. So that 100% of budget is distributed among the 90%. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Right. Let me take also Priya's input. Priya, how do you see that compensation is going to be a challenge in 2024?
Before we discuss the challenges, maybe we should look at the India growth story and the salary increase percentage. Yeah, I mean, on an average, when I look at the surveys, it is poised around 9.4%. So, the salary increments for India show a strong correlation to the relative macroeconomic fundamentals. If you look at our GDP growth, which is predicted at 6.3%, inflation is predicted below 5% in 2024, plus the corporate performance. Yeah. So, I think India will continue to lead the real wage growth increases among the large economies. Yeah. And this is of course supported by robust growth sentiment. Now, the what is important for all of us is how do we utilize the budget that we have, or how do we structure the compensation that we have. One is of course compensation strategy will play a very key role. Yeah, when we talk about compensation, of course, we talk about base pay, variable pay, and all the elements that we have. But I think we need to go one step ahead and understand, what is it that the organization requires, what are the goals and objectives of the company, and accordingly, maybe design a strategy that will help us achieve those goals for the company. Because it is important to have a tailored kind of approach rather than just having the basic things in place, because we see many organizations have everything in place, but then does it correlate with the company strategy, and are we as compen or are we as HR making that impact, yeah, in the top line of the company or maybe in the bottom line of the company. So somewhere I feel the biggest challenge is having a tailor-made compensation strategy rather than having all the textbook elements in place. So that is one, and it will differ from company to company. Yeah, and then of course we should adopt strategies like talent segmentation. So maybe there will be a key focus on our high potentials, key resources, critical or niche skilled resources, because these are the people any organization would like to retain. So from a retention point of view, our top performers, yeah, so maybe a pay differentiation to inculcate a performance based culture and attract and retain key talent. That will be one of the primary focus, I would say. And then, of course, to mitigate these challenges, there will be retention measures in place to take care of maybe internal equity. We could also see some organizations, walking down the road and talking about, maybe gender parity. But this is still not that prevalent in India, I would say, unlike, some of the other countries where there is a mandate of pay transparency. In India, there is no mandate of pay transparency. So, most of the time organizations do get away with it. But I think this will be a critical factor. Then, of course, work-life balance, and what is critical is giving meaningful work, or helping employees find purpose to their work. I think this will play a big role in retaining people. Then the third focus will be on talent fluidity, and this is really very critical. This can happen through cross skilling, upskilling, multi skilling, but this will be really a key, and in many sectors, not just high tech, but I think this will be really a key.
So, Dr. Sanjeev, as Priya was talking about some of the compensation challenges that maybe 2024, she was also talking about some of the surveys, and yes, he rightly said that India is expected to pay the highest salary hike in this 2024. But before we discuss more on survey part and other parts, there is also boom as of now of generative AI. And a lot of other more, advanced technologies right now. So, Dr. Sanjeev, how do you see the integration of generative AI or other advanced technologies with the compensation? And this is also going to be a challenge.
No, I will not say this is a challenge, but I think this will definitely an opportunity for all the organization and the business leaders, HR leader to leverage it, because it is, I will say, it is just begin. It is not yet prevalent, you can say, aspect of your day-to-day decision making or strategy making, or even take what you call doing some form of analysis. So Chat GPT or generative AI is slowly getting into the mainstream of, I will say, management thinking and management decision making. But yes, there is a certain, I will say, advantage I see in leveraging the entire element and deliverables of the generative AI. more from creating the very dynamic compensation strategy. Now, the way we create your compensation strategy is primarily look at the, as I said, the entire availability of talent in terms of supply and demand, the talent, you can say differentiation, performance differentiation, potential differentiation. Now, with the help of the generative AI or a kind of a tool, we can do a very granular analysis of the how has been the trend look like of in line with the overall talent attraction and talent retention standpoint, and what are some of the KPIs which is there for ensuring that we continue to have maximum ROI from this talent segmentation. So, and then what kind of compensation or performance linked differentiation we have given in the last 3 years, and how it is projected for the future, looking at again the industry growth and all other, you can say, macro and micro parameters of the country and the industry and the segment growth, and looking at what are the ways by which a talent will I will say will be pulled out by the competition or the new opportunities and avenues. So what are the ways by which we can make the entire compensation strategy very, I will say, business growth driven, more from the context of not only just retaining and you can say ring fencing the talent, but also more from the context of how incrementally, with all the contribution they are giving, they are getting more return on their, you can say, performance-linked pay and other elements of their, you can say, retention. So I think the tool will be very handy in the coming months and year in terms of doing a lot of analytics, taking very sharp view of what will have the maximum impact. So it's like focusing on 20% to get the 80% result. I think that granularity will be achieved through all these tools.
And Priya, how do you see the integration of the advanced technology, maybe like generative AI, how it is going to be the helpful, and how do you see the pros and cons if we integrate with reward? Maybe it can facilitate in some reward decisions, maybe it can facilitate in some statement part. How do you see what would be the pros and cons?
Absolutely, Romesh, and I agree with Dr. Sanjeev because the tool will definitely help us more. There will be more pros than cons. That's what I feel because we will be able to take data-driven decisions. Today, if you look at most of the organizations, they don't even have a tool to do a basic pay review or manage the BSCs and stuff like that. And we are talking about AI, generative AI. Yeah? So I think those type of data modeling and analytics, it will help us in taking data driven decisions. There will be less biases involved, I would say, any type of biases, because the decisions will be more data driven. And then that will definitely help because it how it works is there are different data models, and then you try and look at okay, what is my end objective, what is the end objective of the company, what is the HR strategy, and those type of things. And then you try to plug in those things, and then exactly what should be your strategy, and what kind of things you need to deliver maybe to achieve those type of goals. So it's not less than magic, AI. So definitely organizations should capitalize on these things. The only flaw I see is it should not happen that decisions are taken only on the basis of data and there is no human touch or those type of things. So it should not be too much data driven, but I think data is definitely going to help us make informed decisions.
Priya, as Dr. Sanjeev was talking about that, maybe we need to work a little more variable parts in this year 2024 because we are calling back the employees to the workplace, and so that we can promote somehow. How do you see how the restructuring that would be needed to be done in this year?
I know many organizations are putting a lot of efforts to bring employees back. Even we are one of them. And we sort of have a hybrid culture for now. So 3 days from the office and 2 days from home. And I think most of the organizations going forward also, I see, encouraging a hybrid culture because they don't want to trigger unnecessary attrition, and those type of things. So I think it is good. Maybe what could also happen is we could look at compensation restructuring when we are speaking about, well-being at work or those type of things. There could be people who would like to opt for part-time, or maybe pursue a hobby and those type of things, maybe a sabbatical. So we could see those type of things because after COVID, I would say that we see a lot of people pursuing hobbies, and people understanding the importance of having a life outside of work. Yeah, and it's a good thing also. So those type of things could happen, but otherwise, I know many companies have been talking about location based compensation, but I don't think most of the companies have implemented it. But this could be one way that if people are sitting in some low cost locations, maybe restructure the compensation, or maybe call them back to the office so that the compensation is not restructured. I see this could be one way if you have to call back employees to the office. Otherwise, we could have office related benefits like subsidized meals, transportation allowances, wellness programs which are accessible at the office. Yeah, so we need to make it a point that there are certain stuff that could be accessed only from the office. And maybe recognition, advancement opportunities, maybe higher positions. So what we also do is, what we try and do, it is not a hard and fast rule, but for global positions or leadership positions, sometimes it becomes mandatory that you have international exposure. So people have to rotate in different countries, and they need to have that exposure. Only then they will be able to apply for that promotion opportunity, and they will get a good career path. So maybe we can look at things like that. There could be certain opportunities which are available from the office, career advancement programs, or maybe recognition opportunities, those type of things. Organizations can think about these things, but I would say hybrid work would prevail. That is what at least I foresee, that hybrid work would prevail.
Yeah. So, Dr. Sanjeev, I think work from office or work from home, that is going to be also one of key point for the salary negotiation. If you're calling employees to the office, then this is my expected salary, and if you are offering the remote work to the employees, then this is the expected salary. How do you see? What is your opinion on this?
No, I think I started the entire conversation from this point only, that because of this hybrid culture, and now organization are in a kind of a crossroad of seeing that, okay, whether which model is more you can say ROI driven, and at the end of the day everything is business. So from that context, I think the choice lies between both the organization and the individual and the employees. From the what kind of now, as I said, one is your real compensation, which is in terms of the take-home salary, and the second is the from a benefit standpoint, that whether if I go for the higher take-home salary, whether I'm reducing my time at home, time with my family, time with my hobbies, time with my vocations, which I have to do other than my work. I think that's where the I will say the entire decision will hinge, and the be giving you more incentive from the context of and I think the entire movement will be towards benefits than the compensation, and benefits like your you can say enhancement of your competence, your higher education, something which you want to acquire, which will immediately impact your, as I said, performance or promotion, will become the one of the attractive proposition for people to be either bring back to the office environment, or uh, uh, providing them various kind of as I said, hands-on training, exposure at the workplace standpoint. So I think these are the ways by which and especially as Priya also mentioned, what are the various benefits the organization is going to give more from one, as I said, the balancing the work and the personal time, and some of the things which will ensure wellness and well-being of them and their family. So anything which is there as part of this area will make the differentiator between the current employer or the prospective employer. And I think that would be the
So I
trend we
was
will
trying
see
to
more in
find out
24.
certain surveys, that what are the surveys which are projecting the salary rise, salary hike in coming year 2024. So I found two surveys. One is from the Deloitte. They did a survey, and according to Deloitte survey, the 9.8%, that is the projected salary hike that may be for 2024. There is another survey, this is a WTW survey, and according to this, again, that is a
Our
9.8%
Watson.
salary hike that may be for coming year 2024. Highest salary hike we can see in manufacturing, and that is a 10%, and the lowest we can see in ITS. So these are the basically the details about the survey. So we are at the end of time right now. So quickly, if you can share 3, 4, 5, what are going to be the compensation trends for 2024?
For India, I think it will be again from the context of the growth, GDP growth, which is happening, inflation, because ultimately the entire compensation increase is one, neutralizing the inflation, and obviously in line with the kind of growth the sector or the country is having. So I think India is one of the fastest growing economy among all the other countries. So definitely 10% would be one of the, and 10% we are talking median, we are not talking of the highest. This is the median increase which is going to get, or an average increase which most of the industry might get. The Again, as I said, the fixed salary will be muted. I think the maximum part of this 10% will going to in the variable for sure. Because for the reason, as I said, the organization wants to keep the fixed cost intact. They don't want to increase their fixed cost. They want to keep it performance linked. So if performance improve, you take the variable pay, and that way they will want to move from the fixed cost model to more of a variable cost model as far as the 2024 and going beyond 24 is concerned.
And Priya,
And the
what are
sector where you will
your
have a
ending
highest growth.
comments as a trend, compensation benefit trends for 2024?
I think government's strong policy push in some sectors like pharma, biotechnology, medical devices, renewable energy, and those type of things will also influence the kind of salary increases people will get. And trends, I would say again, I agree with Dr. Sanjeev. Maybe it will be the ratio or the balance between fixed and variable. That is one. But I also see companies, discussing about benefits. So benefits is also one of the key agenda at the table now. Initially, benefits was like just you give a medical benefit and some basic benefits, but now people are really having those conversations. Yeah, benefits will determine as a differentiated factor, and then of course well-being. Because benefits and well-being, I think somewhere it is correlated, and organization will also try and see how can they differentiate or how can they become a market leader. For example, I was having this conversation with one of my colleague in the US, and what the trend that we see is, some organizations are extending benefits, for the family, for the reproductive health of the woman, because we see a lot of cases of surrogacy and those type of things. So company is even having a benefit to take care of those things. So it is not just at work, but it is beyond work also. And I think that is the key. So benefits was not discussed, was not part of the agenda at the table few years back, but now we see the trend is changing, and companies are making efforts to have maybe personalized benefits, and allocate a decent budget towards benefits. Then of course, from a comp perspective, we will have performance bonuses, we will have LTIs, as a differentiating factor. But it's more of performance high performance and then average performance, and then what do we do with the non-performance. So clearly there will be a segmentation.
Right, right. So if we try to conclude, so I think we all are agreed that the average salary hike that may be around 10% we can see across the sector. And average, this is a median, you can say, the average salary hike. And the range may be from 4% to 17%, 18%, or 20%. So that may be there.
Correct.
So I think we tried to discuss what are going to be the challenges in compensation part in coming year. So thank you so much, Dr. Sanjeev and Priya, for joining the conversation and sharing your wonderful thoughts. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ramesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya.
Thank you, Sanjeev.